Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're reacting to episode 31 of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And Scar, yeah, definitely left that episode off with a bang by writing vengeance in Dr. Marco's blood on the wall. But essentially, Dr. Marco did ask him to kill him because he didn't want to be used as a weapon. And we did get a bit more context into the characters and their experience with Ishval. It wasn't as emotional for me as I thought it was going to be because a lot of it was information that we already knew. It was still absolutely horrific and horrifying, but we had seen a lot of those scenes. The only thing that was different was essentially being shown how Roy and Risa and Hughes reacted to the situation that they had been thrust into. Marco also gave more context to Scar as to what the real reason was for the attack on Ishvale, which is the making of the Philosopher's Stones, which is just so awful that you would do that to poor innocent people. But unfortunately, they are not the first nor the last for this to happen to. Risa also has a tattoo on her back that I think is her dad's research. He basically said, "My research is with my daughter, so keep her safe." And then we see the tattoo and it's like full length on her back. So I think that could be her dad's research. And her dad was really anti against Roy joining the military, didn't see it as worthy because an alchemist's job is to pursue the truth. And that if you stop pursuing the truth, you're as good as dead. So I think that is an indication that essentially Roy needs to always be in pursuit of the truth, and that joining the military is one way for him to do so. But I think it also indicates that there are a lot of alchemists prior to the surgence of the militaristic aspect of the country were very against the weaponization of alchemy, and they were against this idea of it being used in war rather than how it could be used to benefit society and enhance society. So we're already seeing that friction between those that see joining the military as an alchemist as this disgusting, reprehensible thing, and those that see it as sort of their duty to do so. Roy thought he didn't really have a choice. He needed to defend his country, and that makes me wonder if that's how they've got so many young alchemists to join, is by creating these conflicts, by creating this nationalistic desire within their society to encourage people to sign up because they feel that they have to, because they have to defend their country from the threat. But the threat is man-made. It's something that the homunculi have created for their own gain, for their own grasp at power. So they're manipulating humans because they constantly talk time and time again about how humans are so predictable. So by creating a threat, they're driving people to join the military, and they're driving young alchemists to join, and they're honing their skills and they're using their skills, and they become good candidates for sacrifice in the process. It's almost like that's how they make people into becoming sacrifices, which is just insane if that's the whole ploy in the plan. But I think that's how they drive them into doing it, and how they pick their candidates too, is seeing how people prove themselves in the military as state alchemists, and they keep that eye on them. But it's seen as not really something that the older generation were like buying into, but the younger generation are almost kind of feeling that they have to protect their country, as if there's this greater threat that they need to protect everyone from because of all the conflicts that have been created and established on the borders. So of course they're going to feel that way, and they're young, whereas the older generation are like, this isn't what alchemy is for. So we're seeing that conflict between like pro-war and anti-war. I'm not saying that Roy is pro-war, but he obviously feels that desire to protect his country, that patriotic desire to do whatever he can to ensure that his country is safe. So that is being driven by the homunculi and the conflicts that they are creating. Whereas the older generation are very like, alchemy shouldn't be used this way. And we see that in Ed and Al's teacher. She is very against them joining the military, even is angry that they did join because in her mind, that's not what alchemy should be used for. She doesn't like the fact that they have become dogs of the military that are blindly loyal and unquestioning and are refusing to seek out anything other than what they're ordered to do, which isn't the case with them, but I can understand why people see them as dogs. It's because they're seen as doing whatever the military requests them to do, no matter how dirty and disgusting, without question, without fault. But we are seeing that that's not the case, especially with Ed and Al. They are only compliant so long as it benefits them, and they are in pursuit of the truth and they are questioning, but they only joined because it would give them access to the knowledge that they would need to get their bodies back. But it is just interesting to see this divide between those that are intent on alchemy being used to benefit society and humanity, and those that see alchemy as something to be weaponized. But without further ado, we're going to get into episode 31.
スカーだマルコーが殲滅戦に関わってたのを知ってたのか
Yes. Yes, he does. Also, we saw a baby Gluttony being born from the father in the weird cutscene. So, like, Gluttony's back, I believe.
大総統補佐って人質みたいなもんだろ大丈夫かよ
前向きに考えるなら好きあらば大総統の寝首をかけるってことよね
She can also keep a close eye on him. Oh, the little pupper.
何
イシュバールのこと教えてくれてありがとう俺みたいなガキに全部話してくれたよ錬金術師は真理を追い求めるものでも身近なことさえ分かってなかった
大佐は目的を果たしたその先を見てるんだね
目的を果たした先
And he'll accept the consequences that come with
お
it.
前元の体に戻れた後何がしたい
Sleep.
そうだなまずはウィンリーのアップルパイを食べたいか
The
な
little blush on his cheek.
とりあえずばっちゃんとか師匠に戻りましたって挨拶回りかな
そっかお世話になりまくりだもんね
Show off his new body parts.
みんな笑って迎えてくれるよね
It'll be so weird if Ed gets his arm and his leg back, right? Because we're so used to seeing
状況
him
は
with
厳しいけど
the
なんか
automail.
元気出てきた
あの時俺たちの術は発動
But
しな
they
かっ
weren't
た
the only ones. So many people were impacted too.
地上でも使えなくなってたらしいん
Yeah.
だそうだ連中だけが使えた
Because it's from the
何
east.
かあるんだあの二人の錬金術に僕たちの知らない
It's
何
like
かが
yin and yang, push and pull. Maybe like when one falters, one is more powerful.
えどこへ行くって
She just disappeared.
探すぞ
なんだこりゃ。
差し入れだ。
Build up your strength.
お姉ちゃんがいっぱい載ってる雑誌とかよ。
Jean.
俺たちがいない間、サボるんじゃねえ
Can't
ぞ。
waste away. Come
もう
on.
行くのか。
ああ、西部の名物料理でも食ってくら。
ちゃんと食べて強く大きくなれよ
Oh,
留守の間みんなを守ってくれ
I'm just so sad that all his loyal companions are being taken away from him. It's obviously intentional, but it's still sad.
じゃ、またな。フィリー総長。
はいまたお会いしましょう
スカーがまだうろついてるらしいですよ
それは気をつけなくてはいかんな。腕のいい護衛がいなくなることだし。
死なないでくださいね
Oh,
ああ、
they're so worried about each other.
つく人を間違えたかもしれませんね
I love how Roy was told to look after her, and she's the one looking after
あの日の
him.
約束だ。
まだ許容範囲ですでは大佐
I ship them so hard.
Mm.
They best be a couple by the end of this.
仕事 サボらないでくださいね。
ああ、
He's only being cooperative so he can keep her safe.
ポーンも
いや、趣味が高じてと言いますか。
ビショップも
光栄であります。
ルークも
ローマ。
ナイトも
頭悪いから士官学校じゃ苦労しました。
そして
お望みとあらば地獄まで。
クイーンも取られた。
My queen! Cute!
がチェックメイトには
Oh,
まだ早い。
ほら、こういう猫。
crazy.
こいつを連れた小娘を探してるんだ。
Why is he drawn Xiaomei like that? Al's picture is like the cutest thing, and he's drawn like this demonic little panda. I love how he doesn't realize it's a panda either. He's like black and white cat because he doesn't know what a panda is.
なるほど、真の練炭術か。わかった。
Alchemy,
他の者に
alchemy,
も聞いておこう。
alchemy.
本
always
当は
forget what
大
it's
佐に
called.
仮なんざ作りたくねえんだけどよ。
そうだ、借りといえば金を返したまえ。
Eyes on the road.
やっぱまだ借りとく。大佐が大総統になったら返してやるよ。
Oh, bet.
誰に聞いた？金は貸したままにしておく。必ず返してもらうぞ。
んじゃ、そん時はまた小銭借りるさ。民主制になったら返してやるってな。それも返したらまた借りて何か約束取り付けてやる。
つまり私はかなり長生きせねばならんということか。
Yes.
そうだよ。注意
You
とか
don't
に
have
心
a
配かけて
choice.
んじゃねえよ。
You're gonna be in debt to him.
送ってくれてどうもな。
Or he's gonna be in debt to you, so you have to chase him. I love that they all care about each other.
遅かったな。マジくたびれたぞ。
I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about him.
ロイさん、おひさん。
元気そうだね、バネッサ。
久しぶりだね、ロイボ。
こんばんは、マダムクリスマス。
元気だった
Christmas.
かい？
病み上がりなんでね、酒はダメなんだ。
He's meeting in private with some people.
マダム。
It's all a
あ
ruse.
いよ。
セントラルのマダム・クリスマスという女性からお電話です。
おお。
もう一般人に極秘回線を教えないでください。
この年寄りにご指名だよ。
He's coming back into business. You know how he said that he could rely on the other guy, and it turns out like he was
このありさまか。
in league with King? What the fuck, dude?
何すんだ。それでもや。
Sorry, hold up 1 second. We'll address this in a minute. What the fuck? Grumman said, you can trust that guy because I trust him. And that guy ended up being in league with the Führer. And then Roy knew then that like everyone in the top elite was in league. So was this all like a ruse for Roy to uncover that? And that he didn't necessarily trust this guy, but it was to get Roy to know that like the top of the top in the military are like not trustworthy, or are they pretending to be in league with the Führer because they're scared of the repercussions? And that there could be like a subplot of trying to take out the Führer, of like some people pretending to be compliant, but they're actually not, that they're working against the Führer as best they can. Also, fuck you. She did far more for Ling than you did. I don't know where the fuck he was at the time, but he wasn't there. He wasn't helping. She did everything she could. And how dare you slap her? And I'm glad the doctor's stepping in. Get your fucking hands off her, you silly old man.
腕ないのか。
Is he reacting out of shock?
じいさま。
Oh, that's his granddaughter.
さい。
Okay, now I feel bad for being angry at him. He's reacting out of like panic and sadness.
ランファンとの約
Phil
束。
shouldn't have slapped
オー
her
トメール
though.
技師を紹介しなきゃな。
あなたのおかげで孫娘が命を拾った。感謝する。な。俺は人に礼を言われるような医者じゃ。
He's like, I don't understand what's going on.
ありがとうございました。
Because he talks about how like he usually deals with dead bodies, not live people. So it must feel really good to actually have people be grateful for what he's been able to do for them.
早く若を取り戻し、不老不死の法と共に国へ帰らねばの。行くぞ。
はい。
I was annoyed at him, but I can understand why he reacted the way that he did. He was really sad that his granddaughter lost her arm. Ling, fight back! I like Greed, but I miss Ling. Where's May gone?
助けていただいたご恩は忘れま
Oh,
せん。ノックス先生、ありがとうございました。
he is a
今更い
softie.
しゃずらかよ。この俺が。
He feels like he doesn't deserve it, but he does.
こんばんは、父さん。久しぶり。
It's his son
元気？
and his wife.
でかくなったな。お前、痩せたんじゃないか。
あなた。
Excuse you?
仕事、忙しいの。
ああ、相変わらず死体の相手。ああ、いや、今週は生きた患者を2人ほど治療したな。笑えるよな。この俺
Oh,
が人命
look
救
how
護だった
happy
よ。
they are at the knowledge of
父
that.
さん、俺、医者を目指してるんだ。
To help people.
イシュバール以来ずっと苦しんできたのは知ってる。それでも、父さんは医者を辞めようとはしなかった。俺は、医者である父さんが
Oh,
好きなんだ。
上がれよ。あんまりうまかねえけどよ。コーヒーでも飲んでけ。
he's gonna cry, isn't he? He's
も
using
し
the
も
good
神
look.
様ってのがいるなら、
Oh,
見逃してくれよ。こんな俺でもよ。家族とコーヒー飲むぐらいの幸せは。
he can't forgive
Made
himself
up
for
to
what
you,
he's been through, but he deserves a chance to be happy too. Oh god, this show, the most unexpected moments.
こ
He still got the Philosopher's
完全に空軍
Stone.
の管轄に入ったご苦労だった
What
な
the fuck?
キンブリー少佐
予想以上の連戦を行いましたよ。
石は返してもらおう。
And he's like, nah.
何をするキンブリー。
さて、これで賢者の石のありかを知るのはあなた方だけですね。
Oh, what the fuck, man?
何があった？
He's like, just try. Kimblee is a weird, fascinating guy.
やろう、キンブリー。釈放だ。
Is the Führer releasing him?
余計なことは聞くな。
That's
上から
weird.
の命令ですか。
うるせえよ。大体なんで士官5人殺して死刑になってないんだよ、お前。どんな手使った？
Yeah, it's weird
いいえ
as fuck,
何
isn't
も
it?
人徳じゃないですか。
笑わせんな、
What
バカ人
virtue?
が。こんなイカれたやつを釈放するなんて。何考えてんだ、お偉い
To
さんは。
use him. Oh, he's gonna be a menace to society.
長い間お世話になりました。
Don't shake his hand. He's gonna do
もう戻ってくる
something.
よ。
Don't. Oh, I told you.
外してくれキンブリー。
つまらないおもちゃです。お子様にでもあげてください。
Kimberly, what the fuck, man? Even I thought he was gonna kill him. Psychological warfare, Jesus.
久しぶりだね、キンブリー。
Envy's let him out.
出所おめでとう。
あなたたちの命令でしたか。
さ、人手が足りないんでね。
Of course.
ということは仕事をくださると。
They're gonna send Kimberly after Scar. Scar's gonna get his revenge, hopefully, against Kimberly.
子が逃げた。かもしれない。
かも。
まだは
Maybe.
っきりしてないんだよ。案件代わりに置いといたキメラが一頭いなくなっていた。マルコは生体錬成に秀でた錬金術師だ。あれは身代わりかもしれない。
It may not be him. What? Marco may still be alive. Damn, okay.
だけどマルコは連れてこい。
それだけのために私を？
マルコを捕まえたら見せしめに街を一つ地図から消してやるんだ。
久しぶりに使えますね。
町一つ消すんならそれじゃ足りないかもよ。
Are they gonna give him another one?
ドクター・マルコーの部下で石の研究をしてた奴らだよ。
本当にえげつない。
Of course they do. What the fuck?
なぜ私を逃がした？私は
What?
貴様にはまだ聞かねばならんことがある。
I should
キ
have
ンブリーという錬金術師のこと。
suspected.
兄は死ぬ前にこの国の錬金術はおかしいと言っていた。そのことが書かれているはずだ。この国の錬金術がおかしい。
It is strange. It's almost like it shouldn't be.
戻ってきましたぜ。
He is back.
スカーさんご無事でしたか？あれ？
But they're also tracking down May, so they're gonna find Scar at some point.
名はマルコ。
マルコさん、石の作り方を知ってるんですか？どうやって？
He's like, don't ask me.
いや、それはよせ。そんなもの求めるな。
It's not worth the cost.
顔の表面だけ破壊した。こいつの血を止めてやってくれ。顔は本人だとわからぬくらい崩れていた方が都合がいい。
Oh, it's to disguise him. He could have fucking warned him first. Jeez.
俺が兄から受け継いだ研究所を隠した場所。北だ。
Jesus. Fucking hell, man. He could have given him like a warning, so we'll hopefully get a bit more information about what Scar's brother was researching, because he clocked on that something was weird with alchemy in the West to the extent that he had to document it. I should have clocked on that Marco wasn't dead. I don't know why I didn't clock on. I think in my head I was like, how on earth could he have survived that? It's because it wasn't actually him. But hot diggity damn. And Roy is meeting up with his old, was it his old commander before he came to Central? I think it was his commander. So hopefully we'll get some further information there with, is it Madam Christmas, which is an interesting name. I am so confused. And Kimberly's been let out to go after Scar. Kimberly is a fucking menace to society. But it completely makes sense that he's been working with the homunculi all the time because he had a Philosopher's Stone. So it was like, he must have been working with them to have had one. He also just took pleasure in killing people. So he has sort of no conscience to him. But he is a fascinating character in the sense that we know so very little about him. So it's going to be interesting to sort of delve further into him and his perspective. I don't think he's going to be a sympathetic character, but he will definitely be an interesting one, for sure. But as to what conversation Rory's going to have with his old commander, I don't know. Because he told him to trust that guy, and he was like, I'll trust him. And then that guy ended up not being trustworthy. But whether it's all an act, that it was either because he wanted Roy to discover that the top of the military are all corrupt, or it was an act in terms of the guy he was told to trust is actually trustworthy, but is putting on an act because he's not wanting the Fuhrer to clock on that he's not being complicit, that maybe he's like gathering information and intel to use against him. Are we going to see Gluttony again? Because in the previous episode, we did have little baby Gluttony kind of coming out the father's chest. So maybe Gluttony will show back up again, but it was like a very, very teeny tiny Gluttony. So maybe Gluttony only gets bigger the more people he eats, and he starts off like eeny weeny. But yeah, this show completely baffles me at times. I never quite know where it's going. I try and put things together, and then my brain just kind of goes, no, like no clue, no idea what's happening. But I'm glad that the Doctor got to be reunited with his wife and his son, that his son appreciates what his father did with being a doctor, and that he loves him for his want to help people. And yes, unfortunately, he's had to do some horrible things with his time in Ishval, and we again do not sanction what he did, but at the same time, he's not exempt from deserving happiness and to be reunited with his wife and his son that he cherishes dearly, and who were driven away because of his suffering from what happened and the trauma of Ishvail. So it's the fact he brought down the special mugs for them because they were reserved for his family. And he's like crying because he's saying, I'm not that much of a softie for you to outstay your welcome, but he is an absolute softie. And it's just nice that he got to be with his wife and his son, and hopefully it's a step in the right direction to them being reunited as a family. But I think it just emphasizes how everyone is suffering from what happened in Ishvail. Everyone is a victim to some extent, and that's not saying that what he did and the others did is by any means okay, but it is emphasizing the long-lasting impact that war and violence and atrocities can have on the psyche, and that people are complex. We can hate what they did while still believing and advocating for them to have some aspect of redemption, for them making a difference and making a change. Like Roy deciding that he will accept whatever punishment comes his way, even if it means giving his life just to make sure the country becomes a democracy. And Ed refusing to allow that to happen by saying, I'll just keep borrowing money, so then I will consistently owe you, and therefore you can't die. You can't just give up because you need to get this money back from me. Because he doesn't want him to have to sacrifice his life, because yes, what he did was awful, but he's not beyond hope or beyond redemption. He's not beyond forgiveness. He is trying to pave the way for a better future, as are so many who were participants in Ishvail. They are trying to make amends for what happened. Again, it doesn't make their actions justifiable by any means, but it's the act of trying to make a difference, trying to make a change, that makes them redeemable to some extent. It shows the difference between them and the homunculi, between those that enjoyed the war and those that didn't. They are trying to make a difference in the world to ensure that nothing like Ishvail ever happens again. That's what they're striving for. That's what they want to achieve. They are doing what they can to make a difference in the world, and again, makes a difference to others who are quite happy to commit these atrocities and to participate in these atrocities without guilt. So yes, what they did is disgusting and never sanctionable. We can't ever say that what they did was right, but we can see them as working towards redeeming themselves, towards becoming better people, and that makes it easier to forgive them, because they are attempting to ensure that these atrocities never happen again, such as the doctor working on living patients for once. He's helping people. He's never been thanked before, and that makes all the difference. That creates a new hope of what the future can be as a doctor. It doesn't have to be the way it was. He can move forward. He can find a new path, and he can find redemption, and so can the others that are suffering from their memories of Ishvail. But it's their willingness to accept responsibility and try and make a difference that sets them apart in the show, because they are trying to make a change, and that's what makes it easy to side with them and to advocate for them in a way that you couldn't if they were just repenting. And again, not saying that what they did in Ishvail was by any means justifiable, but their willingness to accept that what they did was wrong and to work towards a better society makes it easier to forgive them in the long run. It makes it easier to see that the path of redemption is possible, even for those that participated in Ishvail. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye!